Welcome, everybody. This is our first weekly tournament for 2048. If you're not familiar with 2048, it's a really fun, addicting, and brain-teasing web game that you can just Google 2048, and there's lots of different versions for you to play. Highly recommend it for anyone to get started. So this is a slightly more competitive tinge on it. We're going to start off nice and casual for this week and sort of see where things go from there. Playing in our game today for the first game is going to be my good friend Eric. How's it going, Eric?
Good, good.
And then also we have Malcolm. Hi, Malcolm. How's it going?
Good.
All right. So in just a moment, we'll get started with the first game. Just a quick overview of how this is going to work. So we're just going to have me call the go once everybody's ready. And then it will be the first player to get that 2048 tile will win. Or if any player loses, gets where they cannot move their pieces around anymore, then their opponent will then win the game then. So it's first to 28 and or first to die. This is a single elimination tournament. We're just going to have a nice, simple, easygoing setup this week. After this game, Django, another of the participants, and I will be playing in the second game, and then the winner of that will play another single elimination game for the championship. That's pretty much it. Eric, everything good to go?
Everything good to go.
Malcolm, everything good to go?
Good to go here.
All right. Stream is ready. All right, go. Okay. Both players definitely pushing towards that bottom right for now. Malcolm's up to an early lead at the 32. Eric's not far behind, but Malcolm already has a couple more pieces ready. He's got a 16 and 2 8s ready. Eric's got the 32 and 1 16, so not far behind, but still holding off about 500 points behind. He's now getting ready to build his 64, but Malcolm's already up to the 128. So Eric's going to have to pick up the pace here. But here's his 64, so he's not far behind here, and he already has a 32, although Malcolm's 64 is ready now. Pretty decent pace for Malcolm here, almost doubling Eric's score. Eric's got another 64, but it's not where he wants it. He's going to have to get it around that 8 or the 4 to get it to get his 128, and Malcolm's 256 is ready. It's out of the corner, so he may be looking to build a new 256 in that bottom right spot to get to the 512. But Eric's still stuck trying to get those 264 pieces together. His board's filling up a little bit here, although he does have another 32, but his whole right row is a little bit lost here. He might want to consider maybe putting another 64 in where he has his 16 on the bottom row, just so he can retain some semblance. But he's got two 64s here. He's going to have to decide if he wants to make the 128, and he does on that bottom right next to the 64. And now he's building a 32. He'll probably look to build a 128 in that bottom corner and then put together 256. Speaking of 256, Malcolm's already has one 256 and a 128 ready to go. Just finished his next 64. He is on a blistering pace here. Now almost, he's at right at 3,000 points. He's starting to fill up a little bit, but low numbers all around. He's got a 32 on top and a 64 below. He's probably going to look to build a 128 here on this bottom row, put it together, and then put that 512 right there in the middle. And he may look to slide the 32 from the right row to that second to right row. Eric does have two 128s and a lot of 32s to put together. He's going to have to think about how to get this all set up. This is why structure is so important, especially as you're building those up to your 512, because if he had those two 32s in the correct position on the right row, then he'd be at that 512 and just about tied with Malcolm. Malcolm's 512 is done, and he's got a 128, and he's got a really nice clean board here. His whole right column is over, and Eric crashes. It's a win for Malcolm. Congratulations, Malcolm. Well played all round. That was a quick match. Just a quick overview of how this is going to work. We're going to just it's the first to 2048. First to make the 2048 tile wins, and or last to lose and die. It's going to be single elimination. So whoever wins this match is going to be playing Malcolm in the final for this week. Jordan, any questions or anything?
I didn't know why Hangout didn't work with Firefox. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. It is a natural part of this process. And next week, again, we'll have a much better system. We're building a little web app to sort of facilitate this process. It's almost done, but we had a few little bugs that we didn't want to didn't want to put out a bad process for anybody. So this is not an issue. Next week, a lot of this stuff won't be a problem at all. All right, are you ready to go, Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
All right, are you ready to go, Django?
Yep.
All right. On your marks, get set, go. All right, Eric. I know you can't see, unfortunately, on the Hangouts, but feel free to just
I'll let
chill
you know
on
how much
TeamSpeak.
lag there is.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. So looks like
About
Django's off
15
to
seconds of lag.
about yeah. That's usually what I found. So it looks like I mute my microphone so I don't annoy these guys while I'm casting. I'll turn it back on when we're done. So it looks like Django's off to a pretty quick lead here. He's already up to this 256. Jordan's still working on that 128, but she does have a nice clean board working with. Seems like she has really good form. Jordan's actually our first competitor today who's been preferring the top right. Most people going for bottom right so far, but Jordan is just steamrolling through here, already up to that 256. But he's got a pretty full board here. Nice lines up. He got a 64, a little bit out of position, but Jordan's not far behind. 256 built and working on that 512. Jordan's got the 512s done, and again, he's just zipping through this. He's about doubling Jordan's score here. Jordan is keeping everything nice and tight, but Django's really just going just too fast. It's going to be hard for Jordan to catch up here. Jordan's got a lot of pieces on the board so far. No big issues here. Should look to make that 64 there, and he's already about a quarter of the way to the 128, but Jordan's catching up a little bit here, still at the 256, but has a 128 built. Look, maybe he's going to look to, nope, doesn't choose to switch. Just make the 32 there. Jordan's already got a 64 lined up ready, and the 32 is on the way here, more than doubling now the score. That's that 128 that came out there for Jordan. Ooh, a little bit of risky dodge there with that 512 moving out, but no corner spawn, so he's fine. 32 again is going to be built here. Yeah, he's moving quickly. It's going to be very, very tough for Jordan to catch. Okay.
My audio's going to drop out.
All good. Jordan's doing a really good job here of building that nice serpentine form, although he does move all the way to the left corner in a full slide across to that 1024 piece. Jordan, I don't think she's going to be able to keep up here speed-wise, but she is doing a really good job of staying focused, no big mistakes from her, and already close to the 512, so she's already has the 512, so she's not lagging. She's not moving slowly, but Django is just burning through this. Has the 128. That was a really, really nice switch that we saw from him, moving the pieces all the way across the board to switch corners without any type of corner spawn risk or anything like that. So very well played by him. But again, Jordan's form has been very, very good throughout the whole match. Very solid, no corner moves. Has rotated, I think, from the bottom row a little bit to the top row here, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. She's doing a really good job of watching her moves, so she definitely knows her way around the game very well. Very competent player, but I think she's just going to have to pick up the speed here because Django is just wrecking her. And I mean, that's the big dynamic that you face when you're maybe potentially an underdog in one of these 2048 games is you want to try to go as fast as possible to keep up, but of course the faster you go, the bigger the chance of you making a mistake, and she's choosing to take the safe route. And that's what we saw Eric struggle with a little bit in the first match, trying to go quick to keep up, and he just got burned for it. So she's stayed in good form. She's made really good decisions at every stage. Oh no! Django just burned himself. All right, it looks like Django has crashed here before that 2048 came up, and slow and steady wins the race. Jordan, congratulations.
Okay.
All right, well, that was a quick turn of events. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get ready for the next match here in just a second. Jordan, I'll be with you in a second. I will call you back very momentarily, Jordan.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, Django. Wow, that was surprising. Did you think that you were in trouble there?
I just got a little ahead of myself and I don't know.
Yeah, you were really blazing through.
I was watching over at the other screen and realized I'd muted everything and was like debating whether I should switch screens for a second because I had a little lead and could change to
Yeah,
unmute
yeah,
full
you had
screen.
You had a
But
really
I
nice
thought
lead
about
going.
that for one too many seconds and I'm still moving my fingers. So don't go too fast, kids.
Yeah, wow, you were really blazing too, and you had a good form. It got a little busy a few times, but always looked like you had it. Wow, I didn't see that coming at all.
Game,
You
guys.
you had
Yeah,
you had tough
it happened
spawns.
too quick.
That was, and if you look at, you have that really harsh 2-4 checkerboard there all along the bottom of your screen. That was a really tough spawn. Kind of unlucky, but yeah, speed kills. Speed kills. Well, thanks so much. Very well played. And we'll be very happy to have you next week, and I'm sure we'll probably go a little bit farther. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, it was
Thoroughly
fun.
enjoyed that.
Have a good
All
one.
right. Thanks, Django. Eric, what do you think? I did not see that coming at all.
Man, I did not either.
Wow.
It snuck out of left field, but it was a cool turn of events, just all things considered. Man, that was a good game.
I mean, for our final match of the day, on your mark, get set, go. So it looks like we're having about equal speeds here, at least at the
Hey,
start.
sorry, man, I'm back.
Oh, all good.
I was out observing.
That-
Since I can't really watch live for commentary, I figured it'd be useless here this week.
All good. No problem. Next week, you can, if we do this again, we can get you back into the Hangouts, but it'll all be so much easier once we get the web app working, which should be totally ready for
Yes.
next week. All right. That's
I'm
okay.
gonna head back off.
Okay. So Jordan's actually come out to a slight lead here. She has the 128, but she's lost it from the corner, so she's going to have to probably build a whole new 128 there. Only an 8 in the corner now, so good luck to her on that one. Malcolm still has that 128 deep in the corner, so he's going to keep building forward. Got a nice even row up along that right side. Jordan's managed to move the 128 into the second to left-hand column, and she has a 64 in that corner, so she'll probably be looking just to build one of the 128 there, make it 256. Shouldn't be a problem, but I think with some of this, she's lagged a little bit behind Malcolm now, but both have the 256, although Malcolm has the 64 to 32 lead, although there's 64 for Jordan. So really a very close match, probably the closest match by far that we've seen all day. Nice to have that in the final. Jordan is got now a full row on the top side, and that's 256. 128 built at almost the exact same time. Well, this is a really, really close game. Jordan is doing a great job again of keeping her full board really clean. Got equal speed to Malcolm, but it's maybe a little bit messier on his side. I noticed that he's tending to build a few different things more on bottom and slide up to the top, whereas Jordan is doing more of the traditional serpentine style across the board, although she does have this 64 a little bit isolated. She may look to just build a 32 in that corner and then plug the 64 in there to build the full 512. There's that 128. There's 512. That's a meaningful, probably about 4 or 5 seconds earlier than Malcolm, but still very close. Malcolm's board is starting to get a little busy here. He's got the 64 out. I don't know that he's necessarily building necessarily less efficiently, but it's more. There's more extra pieces on the outside, and Jordan still has that great form. Although she's gonna have to make a tough decision here. Ooh, risky moves it, but oh no, she gets burned on the 64. She has the 512, and so she may look to just push it all up there, but now the 64 is way off in the corner. That is a very unlucky spawn. But speaking of which, Malcolm's got a 2 in his corner now, and his 512 is completely stranded from his 128. Now it's got it kind of in the middle. Both sides kind of breaking a little bit. Jordan's recovered. She at least has the 512 in the corner, but that 64 is all off. The 32 is totally the wrong point. Ooh, got a lot of background noise from Malcolm. Turn that down just a little bit. There we go. All right. So, wow. Okay, so Jordan's starting to rebuild pretty well here. She's kept her 5 in the corner, and that's what really matters. She's going to merge those 64s down, has a 128 next to it. She may be looking to merge the 128 to build the 256. Oh, wow. What a quick motion. Oh, no. Quick motion to build the 256, but now her 512 is out of the corner. She still has it along that left side, so that's the good news. 256 is right next to it. Malcolm has a 256 next to his 512 as well, and his 512 is out of the corner. His board is starting to feel a little crowded, I think. He's building something in this bottom corner. I'm not sure he can get all the way up to 256 in just that row, but he's going to try. Oh, boy. There's his 16. He's moving around that 512, and he's got the 2 full columns to work with now. That's good. But Jordan's managed to keep everything along that left-hand row so far, keeping to it pretty tight. But she only kind of has 3 rows to work with. That top row is where the 8 is. She just can't really risk moving anything out of there. She definitely doesn't want to. So she's just going back to her, very ordered serpentine style, which has really been paying off so far. She's almost enough to build another 32 here, and then just one more 32 to get that 1024 piece, and she may be able to just slide it all down to the corner for basically a full recovery. Malcolm's still crowded, and he's got two 128s on top of his 256, but can't actually do anything with either, so he's sort of having to split his pieces, which is not what you want to be doing. It doesn't help your growth, and his board is really going to start feeling crowded. There's a 64, so back to 2 full rows to work with, building at 16 on the bottom. And there's that 1024 piece for Jordan. As I tucked away, she got it. So she's basically fully recovered now. Has a 64 on top of it. She's undeniably in the lead of this game now. Has that 2 at the top to prevent any awkward sliding moves. And there's a 64, 128. She is doing very well for herself. Now, if Malcolm can just build that 128 down on the bottom, he should be fine. That'll be enough to put another 512 on the corner, but I'm not totally sure how he's going to handle the 512 that's in the middle. That's why it's so much better. If you ever do get lost a little bit, it's way better when that 512 or your biggest piece stays in at least on one side. Okay, now she has a 1024 on one side and a 128, only a 32 on that side, but he has a 64 that's stranded a little bit more in the middle. So, score-wise, I think they're still about even, although I think Jordan's feeling a lot more comfortable with her board layout here. Just really, really solid form. The trend 24 for both 128, 264s, and there's a 256 for Jordan. So now she's definitely in the lead here. But if Malcolm can manage to build this 64, that'll be his 256. Okay, there it is. All right, so 256 for both sides. Both sides have a 64, although Malcolm does not have his piece in the corner like he wants it. He's going to be looking to build another 36 now, moving more towards that serpentine style. And there's a 128. That's not, at least on a points perspective, ahead of Jordan, although Jordan does have another 32 already waiting to go. Wow, this is a very, very close match. Both sides playing very well. Again, I think Jordan's in a better position, but I think Malcolm has the overall numerical lead. Jordan has a 64, a little bit stranded here. Probably looking to just build the 128 on that second column and merge it in. It looks to be what she's going for, but oh, nope, she's going to be looking to build the 64 in the corner more likely. So moving away from that serpentine style, building things across that top row and pushing on. There's a 64, but there's an 8. Yeah, it's just not going to work. She's going to have to build probably another 128 in the corner and leave that 64 for the next 256 that she's looking to build. Coming back to Malcolm, board's looking pretty crowded. He's had to build a 64 in that bottom corner, kind of just to make space. He needs another 32 on top, and he's got them. They're all surrounding it, but things not quite lining up for him. A bad spawn here could be the end. Okay, now he does put the 56. That's a 512. Both sides have a 512, but Jordan has a 128 ready to go. Managed to bring that 64 around in the corner. Wow, what a close game. She's building the 32. Malcolm has the 8. Again, he has a lot of pieces put together, but that 32 basically isn't going to do him any good trying to actually build the 2048. There's a 16, 32 to 128, both sides with the 1024 and 512 pieces ready to go. Looks like this 128 piece is coming out in just a second for Malcolm, and that's good. But that's already a 256 there right then for Jordan. So she just needs basically literally one more 256 to win this game. Malcolm's going to have to pick up the pace one way or another to come back from this. There's a 16, there's 32, but he just has this 32 that's just not useful for him. Now, the good news is he will be able to use this 64 to build this last 128, so that'll allow him to use that 34 that's stuck below it to build his last piece. Oh, very, very dangerous position here for Malcolm. He's got to be careful. There's a 16. Okay, he's built a little bit more space for him. He's fine, but still struggling to build that 8. Okay, there's a 4. Okay, he should be fine here, but basically only has one row to work with here. He's got to pick up the pace. There's 128 out already for Jordan. Just one more 128 to win the game. Very close on all sides. Okay, ooh, Malcolm has actually built a 128 here in the second row. I do not think that's what he was trying to do, or at least that's not what I would have suggested. He may just be running out of space, though. He's really, really tied up here. Every row filled, keeping himself alive with good moves. There's a 64, but I'm not sure. He's gonna have. Oh, boom! There it is. And that is a win for Jordan. The 2048 piece comes out, and just at the same time, Malcolm finds his game over. Congratulations, Jordan.
Thank you.
All right, Malcolm, thank you so much. That was a really close game throughout it. I mean, very close from both sides. Malcolm, what went wrong?
I fat fingered it and I got something under my teeth, under the corner piece.
Yeah, once that 512 popped out, it was like, oh boy, that's a hard thing to come out from that far into the middle.
I hit up when I meant to hit down.
Mm-hmm.
And there was pretty
Wow.
much game over.
Wow, what a game! That was amazing. Jordan,
Back 15 seconds behind.
what a comeback from struggling so much in game one. But that was an almost flawless performance. You did get a little, your 512 popped out of the corner there, but you kept it along the edge, and that was really what gave you the victory. Stuck to that really solid form. What do you think was the number one thing that helped you win?
The practice with the larger boards, because the popping out of the corners happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's frustrating, but I'm definitely used to it. So I guess not panicking when that happened.
That's just like we were talking about before, the bigger board practice. That's a really good point. Wow. Well, that was quite a game. Yeah, what were you saying?
I'm definitely used to it. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess not panicking.
Sort of that keeping a cool head, like you were saying after the first game. Wow. Well, Malcolm, any closing thoughts from you? Sort of that keeping a cool head, like you were saying. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and close down the call with Malcolm here. Thank you so much for playing, both of you guys. That was really amazing to watch.
Agreed. Absolutely. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you so much, both sides. Thank you, Jordan. I'm going to go ahead and hang up. Eric, wow. That was a really good game.
I was not expecting that at all, man.
No, that was so close. I mean,
It had me on edge unbelievably so the
And
entire time.
until almost the last,
believe it.
15 or 20 seconds, it really looked like Malcolm could have come back. If he had just gotten out of lineup a little bit, I think he built a 128 there outside on the bottom, on the third column, third row, when he meant to build it on the third column, second row, and after that, it looked like it was going to be really tough.
I
But
could not believe how many times Malcolm saved himself there. I just about thought it would have been over right there.
I mean, he
came
was
back.
probably playing for a good 90 seconds with basically a constantly full board, and
Yeah.
was able to bring everything always around, always kept it together. But he was playing on the shoestring a long time, and it was so apt that it was so close. And then within 15 seconds, Jordan had a 20-48, and Malcolm had game over. I mean, that was
Absolutely.
insanely tight.
Mind blown. I'm so excited for next week, guys. That was great. Thank you.
What do you
Everyone
think
who
about
participated.
what Jordan was saying about the bigger boards and how keeping a good practice to keep a cool head? Do you think there's any truth to that?
I got the beginning of that. I came into the room, missed about 15 seconds.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
From what you're saying, yeah, that's actually interesting. I hadn't quite thought about that, but
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It does make sense.
Wow. Well, any closing thoughts, Eric, for this week's tournament?
Other than just being grateful for the great performance put on by everyone. That was
Absolutely.
really entertaining. I can't wait to see the YouTube upload.
Yep.
I'm really excited about next week. Hopefully, we can get all the bugs worked out of this web app, implement
Yeah.
the features we want. By
Yeah.
the way, David, great job on that so far.
Thank you.
We pulled everything together last minute, guys, but y'all have been great.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was.
really enjoyed this. This went way better than I thought it was going to.
And I
Really
will be
excited.
putting a YouTube VOD up, like you were saying, so I'll have a link out there for anyone who wants to see it. Send it all around. I'll
Definitely.
edit it down to just the game so that we don't get all the just fun Skype combos.
And anyone who hears this who lives in or around Fayetteville, North Carolina, who is not already aware of this, which, slight chance, but either way, check out the Fayetteville Linux user group on Facebook.
Yeah, that's where a lot of these guys are coming from. It's a game, great place for any sort of tech-related stuff in that region. Or if you wanna play some competitive 2048, that's the place to find the people to talk to. If
Yes, sir.
you do want to play or watch or anything else, we're gonna be doing this on Sunday nights for the time being. And you can also email me at david@davidystevenson.com. All my contact information is on the Twitch channel, and it'll be on the YouTube stuff as well, so you can get in touch with me if you need anything. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close down the stream for this week. It has been a pleasure casting some really, really good 2048.
That was great.